Welcome on this new course on CRMs. So we'll first look at the definition of what a CRM is, and then we will study how CRMs changed, the role of CRMs changed since data became central to business. So CRM stands simply for Customer Relationship Management, and that's a piece of software that helps companies manage all the data and processes and analysis related to their customers. In order to see the bigger picture, you should realize that a company is made of several of these software or platforms, and CRM is just one of them. You have similar pieces of software to deal with your accounting information. So that's an accounting software that deals with that. You have software helping your human resources management dealing with their operations relating to staff, payroll, performance, and such. And of course, for the logistics of your operations, either products or services, you also have other software that help you manage the flows of inputs and outputs. These pieces of software often need to communicate with each other. For example, when you make a sale, that's something that tells you something about your customer, but that's also something that should be registered in your accounting system, and that's also something that could count for the evaluation of your salespersons, in which case the human resources management system could have some information about that. So you might have a need for the integration of these different systems, in which case you could use an ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, which is basically a bigger software that integrates all other software. So that's where CRM stand in the firm. CRMs or the functions, the role of CRMs evolved a lot in recent years. A picture of a CRM you could have had a decade ago or more would have been basically a big database where, so that's on the right of this slide, a big database where you store all this information in tables. So you could think of Excel spreadsheets, but in practice, these are tables in a database. And you, as a marketing person, you write some instructions into these databases, such as rules. All customers that have a loyalty card and that completed more than 100 euros of purchase are entitled to a 5 euros discount on their next purchase. This is a kind of marketing action or marketing campaign that you feed into the database. So that's on your side. And on the side of the point of sale, these marketing instructions are applied so that when a customer goes to the cashier with a loyalty card, your marketing action is applied to this customer. And in return, the data about this purchase transaction is registered in your database. So that's the basic flow that you would find in a regular, traditional customer relationship management system. You know, of course, that things became much more complex in the multi-channel environment that we know today. So let me list the 4 areas where CRMs had to adapt to cover the larger extent of customer relationships that we have today. First, CRMs should deal not just with customers, these persons that had a purchase with your company, but with a wider audience, advocates, these persons who discuss your brand on Facebook, on Twitter, who like your brand, the page of your brand on Facebook, who use the hashtag of your brand when they post a picture on Instagram. They might not be customers yet. Still, you want to have, you want to keep information about this person. They might be very interesting future customers or advocates for your brand. You have qualified prospects that you should keep a trace of. The persons who repeatedly visited your website, they did not make a purchase yet, but they filled in a basket maybe and did not complete the transaction. These are important persons for you. Who else? Listeners, the persons that did not do any action towards you, but who are in the position to listen to your campaigns. So I will listeners and what I call the second degree network. Well, you could call them, you could take the example of the friends of a friend, all the persons that are friends with one of your customers. It means that if you take a social network such as Facebook, the persons do not interact with your brand directly, but they are friends with somebody who posts things on their wall, likes your pages, shares pictures from your page, and doing that, they basically forward your message to their friends, listeners. You could be interested in who are these listeners, who is exposed at the second degree to your brand and products. The second big change is that, well, I just mentioned that a bit, but touch points have really diversified. You don't have just the point of sale as a place where finally you reach out to your customers, or TV, print media and radio. You have so many other channels where you can actually communicate to your customers or prospects. Emails, of course, blogs, different channels such as all the Amazon or eBay, microsites that you would build for a very temporary campaign. Games on a mobile device, social networks, and the way these different channels can be experienced by your customers have diversified as well. Not just the TV screen or the desktop computer screen, but mobiles, tablets, watch soon, social TV, etc. The third point that made CRMs more complex today are that relations become more complicated. Of course, you continue creating content, ad campaigns, promotional campaigns, but your customers and advocates and anybody really can create content on your brand now, and you should, in a CRM, keep track of that across different channels. And very importantly, it's a two-way communication. You talk to your customers, but they can address you directly as well. Well, in which case you should quite be aware of that so that you craft an appropriate response. And finally, I would insist that expectations from your customers and the wider public have elevated. You can't really have monthly reports on which to act. There is an expectation that complaints, praises, or just communication in general will be near real time. Companies did realize that. You have now many banks that guarantee you a reply on Twitter if you ask them something, a reply within 20 minutes. So real time is something that is expected today. Localization is also a big expectation. People expect that you are aware of where they are situated so that the campaigns that you address them is tailored to their region, city, or environment more generally. Personalization is very much a default option today. I think it's clear that when you receive emails as a customer, you are really sensitive to the way the email has been actually written for you and not to the 1 million customers of this company. And finally, true interaction, in the sense that yes, it's real time, the communication that you have with the company, and it's with a real person. Answer phones and automatic replies by emails are less and less considered. So CRMs today have or should adapt to these new roles. The question is, what does it mean in terms of the CRM itself? So before we come to that, I'll just present a brief example. You know about the Share a Coke campaign that Coca-Cola ran in 2013 and ran again in 2014. I let you imagine the complexity of this campaign and what kind of function a CRM should have to track this complexity. So this campaign was cross-channels. You had campaigns on TV, in outdoor media, in print, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Pinterest, you name it. So you have to basically synchronize and keep track of the activity on all these campaigns, on all these channels, sorry. The nature of the content of this campaign is also radically different as compared to regular campaigns, in the sense that customers and prospects were asked to produce content. So the content that a CRM should keep track of is not just the content that you created and that's easy to source. You have to detect where, when, and by whom new content is created on the your Share a Coke campaign, and that's a traditional CRM wouldn't be able to do that. And finally, you have this campaign is particular in the sense that it's tightly coupled with the production line. As you know, the campaign is not just about mentioning names, it's also at the core buying bottles that have a particular name on it, so that whatever you see happening in terms of users' reaction to your campaign could have a quick and strong impact on the type of labels that you're going to print on your bottles. And that's not just changing letters on the label, it's also deciding where the bottles will be delivered, because you might not have the same preferences in terms of labeling in different regions. And finally, I mean, all of that is great while the campaign is alive, but you should also keep a trace of all of that because you might find interesting leads in the results of your campaign, looking at who actually promoted Coke and who did not do anything but listened to your campaign. All of that is a lever for further action if you actually know how to keep track of it and analyze it. And you need a new generation of CRMs to do that. So I'm saying in the slide, CRMs have transitioned. Maybe they don't. They didn't yet, right? Maybe they should transition from a support system, by which I mean a system in your company which is mainly used to, help marketing perform their administrative duties. So, helping you automate Salesforce management. Where should I distribute salespersons in stores and in regions? CRMs as a support system were also used to facilitate accounting, were used to comply with legal requirements because you, from an accounting point of view, you are supposed to keep a track of your sales, of course. They were used to run, the loyalty program that every company has without real thinking on the benefits of this campaign, and helping you keeping tracks of your KPIs for your own evaluation as a marketing person. So that's caricaturing a bit. That's what CRMs did until recently. And on the right of the slide, you see where they have gone or where they should go. Well, first, there should be an engine able to collect and store data without limitation of volume, variety, and velocity. And that's something major in the sense that it has impact in terms of the infrastructure, servers that a CRM should be able to plug to. In terms of analytical tools, some analytical techniques perform well on small amounts of data and can't even run for larger data, right? And also an impact in terms of storage place. A CRM should actually today come with a storage capacity for your needs. CRMs today should be able to help you manage the complexity of multi-channel campaigns. And that's not just putting side to side the results of your campaigns on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, outdoor media and print. It's a software that helps you actually aggregate, normalize, and compare all of this data. That's hard. It should also help you act on this data with the generation of localized, real-time, personalized micro actions to take towards your customers. And finally, it should be flexible because the landscape of data, of channels, of analytical tools is changing every 3 months. So you can't buy the license for a software that can't be plugged to new data sources, because new data sources will arrive, on a regular basis. So you need flexible solutions. So that's how CRMs should be today. I'll show now in more practical details how CRMs should transform in 3 areas. The first one is that, as I said, a CRM can't be anymore a single software installed on the servers of your IT department without any flexibility. Today, you should conceive a CRM as a hub that aggregates different data sources, different computing capabilities, and different analytical tools. And depending on your needs, depending on the evolution of your market, you should be able with your CRM to plug and unplug one of these. So on this slide, you see that the way this hub would ideally be in the cloud, because the cloud allows you to scale up or down your computing capabilities, your storage capabilities, according to the size that you need to process. You should, this platform in the cloud should be able to plug and play with an ecosystem of analytical tools through their APIs. And you see that these tools are of a wide variety, from the most classic ones that will inform you about your sales on brick and mortar point of sales, to the most fancy ones telling you about where you should actually place your ad campaigns, and they will do that automatically for you. So to recap on this slide, CRMs, their inner structure has completely changed from a software that you were supposed to install on a server to actually a platform that you deploy on the cloud and that you constantly make evolve. Second important point where CRMs changed. CRMs used to come with a predefined set of reporting tools. So dashboards, functions that you were able to run on your data. And you could, of course, extend this set of tools with modules that you would buy from the vendor of the CRM solution at a cost, of course. This continues. Of course, a CRM always comes with predefined reporting tools and modules that you can buy as an option. But the big talk today is about data science and the fact that the scope of your analytical tools has changed. So data science, you can describe it as the convergence of three domains. The first one is the ability from your analyst to hack. And by hacking, I don't mean pirating. I mean the ability to actually cope with heterogeneous and rapidly evolving data sources and analytical tools. So because data comes from in many different formats, Twitter will talk to you about hashtags, Instagram will bring you hashtags as well, Facebook pages will bring you likes and shares. Your website will bring you some statistics about clicks and rebound rate and conversion rates. It's very hard to find analytical tools that will out of the box provide you with a solution to aggregate and understand all of these very different data formats. So you need a team of analysts that are able to think in a creative ways to actually come up with meaningful reports on these very heterogeneous data sources. And that's what is meant by hacking skills, the skill to make do with what you have. The second evolution in CRMs and in reporting tools used in CRM is the analytical tools that you can use. Up to recently, you had classical skills to be used for reporting, such as econometrics and statistics, and a couple of models imported from the tradition of marketing. But with the rise of huge data sets, two things happened. First, some of these tools didn't work on huge data sets because it was too slow. A nice tool couldn't run on the huge data that you now have, so you have to abandon them, these tools. And the second thing that happened is that with these new data sets, huge data sets, people with new skills came up on the scene. Coming from an engineering background, from a physicist background, their physics background, these persons just bring new ways to analyze data, and very often they are completely used to dealing with data sets of a huge size. So math and stats tools got renewed a lot recently. And finally, the last thing that doesn't change that much, because you had that already, but which is still very much here, is a need for substantive expertise in your reporting tools. I like to make this point strongly because when you talk about data science, you could think of, human analysts that know that now the product intimately could be replaced by the new hype math guy. That's definitely not the case. Without substantive expertise, you can't, you can make big mistakes, and you can miss huge opportunities, because math alone and excellent hacking skills need experience from the business in order to perform adequately. So these three things are now very important in CRMs. You call that data science, and typically they don't come up as a packaged software solution. We talk about human resources here. We talk about creating a team of analysts that have hacking skills, a bit of this new math and stats knowledge, and also business persons that know the business very well and who can talk to these hackers and math persons. And that's quite a change because these kind of teams are, from the point of view of human resources, these teams are very hard to find and create. And finally, the last key point where CRMs today are definitely different from the ones of 10 years ago is that customer relations evolved. Again, caricaturing a bit, you could have said that CRMs 10 years ago were there to keep track of sales, right? But now, again, expectations have elevated. First, the content is created not by your company alone. So you have managing the relation with your customers means managing the community of customers that create content about your brand. So we talk about community management. How do you actually drive and make a community enthusiastic about your product? How do you control for the bad buzz? Or how do you expand the good buzz about this or that story running on your company? A CRM should be a tool enabling your community manager and your evangelists and your customer service specialists to do their job. Your CRM should also be able to manage the fact that interactions have become personal and two ways. So it means that you have to store much more in your CRM because not just data that you generate, but anything that somebody somewhere says about your brand should be picked up, stored, and acted upon if needed. Such as sending a reply to this customer or amplifying, retweeting what the customer did. CRMs, I mean, this will be managed thanks to a CRM, nowhere else. And finally, customer relations today are expected to be seamless, by which I mean the fact that customers interact with you on a multiplicity of channels, and yet they would expect that their experience across channels is without a bump, that they are recognized as this person on Twitter and then on Facebook, and then when they visit your store, if they flash a card or if they do anything that allows them to be recognized by you, that in one place your company makes no mistake about how these customers should be treated. And again, that's what CRMs should enable you to do.